The ultimate skill tree guide. Let's jump in. All right, guys. So diving into the video, we're going to first be looking at the skill tree. Now, this is going to work for all different characters that you make, all different roles, but we're going to be showing the assassin since that's what I'm playing here. So to jump into the skills, you're going to press K on your keyboard. That's the default bind. And you're going to be met with this screen here. Now, your skills are right here on the right side. So these are your active skills. These are the skills that you use when you press a button. These are your passive skills. These are the skills that are just passively being attributed to your character at all times. And of course, this is your skill board here, or your hotkeys for all your skills, which you can change to your liking. And then on the left hand side here is going to be talking about the selected skill. So right now we're on quick slice. You can see it's plus 12, talks a little bit about the skill here. And then some of the specialties that I've got on the skill tells you a little bit about the cooldown stuff and the area of effect. So just getting acquainted with the skills, that's pretty much a rundown of how the skills look, right? You got your actives, your passives, your hotbar. You talk a little bit about the skill here, talks a little bit about the specialties, and then a little bit about the casting and things like that. All right, guys. So moving on here, we're going to be talking about the skills themselves. Now, the skills and your passives have a max level that you can tap the skill to. Level 10 is the max that you can go on a skill. Now, you're going to see here, I've got it at level 10, but then you see a +2. You can see here, I've got this one, a level 10. But then it's a +3. We're going to talk about what this +3 is and how to get all this. But just so that you guys know, these skills can be maxed out at a base level 10. Just like my heart gore here, it's +8. But then I have a Dominion board giving me +2. So the real level is +10. And again, we're going to break down how to increase your skills over +10 here in a little bit. But I just wanted to show you guys that the passives are the same way. Passives and skills can max out at a level 10, but you can always have them plussed more using your Dominion board and other things like that, which I'm going to break down here shortly. So I just wanted to cover that for you guys on here, just so that everyone understands that. So +10 is the max you can get your actives and passives. And by the time you're level 45, you should have a lot of your stuff already maxed out. Now, the reason that we want to look at what skills are kind of like our main skills and how I would go about it to level and figure out which skills I want to prio over other skills. The way I do it is kind of like a backwards reverse engineering type thing. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to each skill and I'm going to look at what the multiplier is. What I mean by that is as I click on each skill, you'll see here on the description, deals 926 to 952 damage to up to 4 enemies within 4 meters and restores 120 MP, absorbs 7% of the damage to HP, right? So the multiplier on this particular skill is this damage multiplier. As I level this skill, the only thing that changes is the damage. Nothing else changes. I don't do more damage to more enemies. I don't have a wider meter cast. I don't restore more mana. None of that. The only thing that's going to change if I get this skill a higher level is my damage. So with that in mind, I want to go into each skill and I want to look at what multipliers are changing if I'm upgrading that skill. And as a DPS, I'm going to want to prio the skills that do the most damage or have the most effect. In other words, which skill am I going to get the most value out of? You can see ambush does pretty good amount of damage, 2,700 to 2,800 at level 13. Heart gore, 2,000 damage to 2,100 damage. Storm Rampage, only 1,500 damage to 1,600 damage. Whirlwind Slice, 3,500 damage to 3,600 damage. So this is a good skill because so far that's the highest damage that I've shown that I can remember. And it also has a 40% chance to rotate and inflict stun for 3 seconds on a successful evasion. So this is a pretty good skill to max out. Let's look at Flash Slice. You can see here 2400 to 2500. Infiltrate, 24 to 2400. Shadow Fall 4500 to 4600. This is a good one to chase too. It does some good damage. Let's see what else it does. It also absorbs 30% of damage to HP, and it inflicts knockdown for 1.5 seconds. But my biggest damage dealing skill on Assassin by far is Insignia Explosion. Okay, this is like your burst big crit damage skill, single skill in our whole arsenal, that you want this as high as you can go, because this is where you're going to get most of your damage. You can see that it's a stacking type skill. So the more insignias or the more marks I have on them, the more damage I'm going to do. And right now at level 13, it's doing 4,300 to 44, almost 4,500 damage on hit. And this is to multiple targets, and it has a 50% stun chance. So you want to look at your skills, whatever you're playing, and you want to see which one you're getting the most value out of by chasing, so that you can get it to plus 16, because 16 is the highest you can take a skill. And we're going to talk about specialties here in a second, right after this. But I wanted to show you guys how I reverse engineer which skills I'm going to prio by leveling up first, and which skills I'm going to prio by chasing them on the Divinian board. We're going to talk about the Divinian board here in a second. But that's kind of my tip there. Go into your skills, look and see which ones are the ones that, are going to help you accomplish your goals. If you're a DPS, look for the highest DPS ones. If you're a healer, look for the ones that give you the most heals. If you're a sorcerer, look for the ones that maybe give you the most damage, but also give you some nice like bind chance or freeze chance, anything like that. And you're going to want to prio those skills. And the same thing goes for the passives. You want to look at these passives and figure out which one are you trying to chase the most. You can see here, Rear Smite is going to give me a back attack damage boost by 19%. So anytime I'm attacking someone in the rear, I'm going to get an additional 19% damage, and that's going to increase as I level this. And same with Assault Stance, increases caster's critical damage boost by 18%. So both Rear Smite and Assault Stance you're going to want to level those, right? Obviously there's some other ones that are very important as well, but just depending on your playstyle and kind of what your role is, you're going to want to prio different passives and different actives over others based on how you want to play. And based on how you want to play is going to change how you chase those upgrades on your Divinian board. And we're going to talk about this here in a moment. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the specialty board here. Okay, every skill that you have has a specialty insignia or a specialty rune that you can put on that skill that you can mix and match at any time. Now the first 3 unlock when you get a skill to level 8. For instance, this skill, Whirlwind Slice, I only have it at +7. So I don't have any insignia boards unlocked for it. But if I level it up one more time and get it to 8, you can see I'm going to unlock the chance to put plus 50% multi-hit on hit. I'm going to get changes to an AoE damage, and I'm going to get an additional 16-meter range that I can put on the skill. That's going to give me a different buffer on the skill. Essentially, I'm going to be able to morph the skill to do additional things for me based on the level of the skill. So when you guys look at how you guys want to play, what I would recommend is do it a reverse engineering tactic. Look at every skill and look at what the 16th rune does for the skill, because technically the 16th one is going to be the most busted one, or it's going to give you the most value. So you want to look at every skill and you want to figure out which one you want to chase, or which couple that you want to chase on your Divinian board. You can see here with Savage Roar, it's going to pull nearby targets. So when I go and I use this skill right here, it's going to pull those targets to me. It's going to close the distance, right? On the active on Shadow Strike, it's going to change to an AoE skill. So instead of you just Shadow Striking one person, If you're PvPing and there's a group of 3 people, you're going to shadow strike all 3 of them, and all 3 of them, they're going to be rotated and stunned for 4 seconds. So you can see how shadow strike is pretty busted. You can obviously, it's going to help in PvE as well, but in PvP, if you're attacking a group of people that are stacked on each other, it's going to be very strong skill, because at level 16, it's going to change to an AoE skill. So go through all your skills, look at what the 16th level does for that particular skill, and that's what you're going to use to help chase the skill, to level up those skills first. That's what you're going to use your Divinian board to chase those skills, and that's what you're going to try to get on your armor pieces, because on armor pieces you can also get plus to skills here, which we're going to talk about in a little bit. But on your armor pieces can roll to where you'll get a random skill +1 essentially. So let's talk about that here in a little bit. But yeah, I wanted to talk a little bit about the specialty board. So just real quick on this primary skill that I've got, it's going to give me an additional 20% MP, and it's going to absorb 7% of it as HP. So essentially my left click is like a life steal, in other words. And since I do it so much, I'm constantly life stealing. But in reality, I could change this if I want, because I have it level 12. And when you get to level 12, you unlock the 4th one. And when you get to level 16, you unlock the last one. So if I want to put multi-hit, I can just click this and click that, and boom. Now it's a multi-hit. And all multi-hit is essentially your attacks hit multiple times. You hit somebody once, but it lands twice, or it can land 3 times. So it's just like an additional damage buffer. And you can do that for all your skills. You can go into each skill and you can figure out which one you want to upgrade and which ones you want to chase. So let's talk about the Divinian board. Now, I have talked about this in my other video. If you guys haven't watched that video, I highly suggest you watch it, because it covers a lot of information that you guys are going to want to know before you start playing the game. And even if you're playing the game, it still covers information that can help you out with the game. But essentially, the Divinian board is this board. Okay, when you get to level 45, you eventually unlock all of them. But as you grow in level, the Divinian boards unlock. So the first one unlocks at level 12, the second one unlocks at level 20, the third one unlocks at level 30, and then the last one unlocks at 40, and then you get these 2 when you're level 45. So as you're playing through the campaign and growing your character, the new Divinian boards unlock. Now, this is how to read a Divinian board. The first thing that I would do, let's go to like a blank one here. The first thing that I'm going to do when I look at a Divinian board is you're going to want to read the right here. It's going to tell you what the core nodes are. So you can see that this board is a PvE damage boost and a PvE damage tolerance. And the gold runes are the ones that you want to chase, because those are the ones that are going to give you the main stat for the board. So no matter where you go, just know that the end is always going to be the gold one, the gold rune. Now, how you get to the gold rune depends on how you want to build your Divinian board. And how you wanted to build your Divinian board is going to be based on how you want to level your skills, how you want to prio which skills or which passes. That's going to depend on how you use your runes to unlock the Divinian board. All right, let me break that down for you guys. So let's say I'm on this board, right? This is a PvP board, but I'm just going to use it. And I know that I want to get, let's see, I know I want to get my, let's just go with Shadow Strike. Let's see if there's a Shadow Strike Divinian on that board, right? I want to get my Shadow Strike to level 16 because I want it to be an AoE skill. I pretty much want to burst multiple people at the same time, and I want to change this to an AoE skill, and it's called Shadow Strike. So what I'm going to do is when I get my Divinian tokens, I'm going to go to this board and I'm going to look for the blue rune. The blue runes are your active skills, and the green runes are your passive skills. Now for the PvP board, it's a little bit different. That's not how these last work, it works on these first 4. So let's just switch boards real quick. This one is multi-hit chance and multi-hit resist, this board, right? Now we're looking for Shadow Strike. We know that that's the blue skills. The green ones are your passives, the blue ones are your skills, and the ones in between are just raw stats. And of course, the gold ones are the main ones you want to chase, right? And it's like that for all of the boards. So you see the gold one here, gold one, gold one, gold one. So the corners of these were gold. I got all of them on those. And then I got all of them on this one. This one was combat speed and cooldown reduction. So I chased those 2 boards. I maxed those 2 boards out. But let's just look at this one. I'm looking for Shadow Strike. So what I want to do is I want to look for the blue insignias. And you can see here, here's Shadow Strike right here. So I know that if I want to max out my Shadow Strike, I've got to start in the middle and I've got to run this way. And I can either go this way or I can go this way. It depends. If I go this way, either way, I'm going to get Whirlwind +1 because I have to go this direction to get to this multi-hit chance. What's going to change though is if I go this way, I am not going to get Defense Break because I'm going to go this way, I'm going to go down, I'm going to go this way, and I'm going to get the multi-chance because I'm trying to get the Shadow Strike. Now, obviously, if you go down this way, you're going to need more Divinian tokens because you're going a farther distance to get to the gold. So you're going to have to do your due diligence and you're going to have to look at the boards and figure out which board do I want to unlock first? Which board is going to give me what I'm looking for? Which board is going to give me the plus stats to the certain skills that I am chasing? And that's where you're going to have to get in here and reverse engineer it and just take your time with it. Look at the board, look at the stats, look at the blue skills and the green skills and figure out which way do I need to go so that I can attain my skills and get my skill level where I want it so that I can get that AoE skill. And you can see there on that Divinian board, I can get it right here. Here's Shadow Strike right here. And I believe each board only has 1 skill, 1 blue skill and 1 green skill, and it's random, right? Each board is a little bit different. So I don't think you can get, like, for instance, I don't think there's a board where there's a Shadow Strike and then there's another Shadow Strike somewhere else. I think it's only 1 skill and it's on the board somewhere. And so you've got to find which direction that is, essentially. And then you just put the Divinian tokens in here. Boom, boom, boom. You get it. You come down here, attack bonus, MP, and boom, there's your multi-hit chance. And if you're still trying to go for another multi-hit chance, okay, if I do go for the multi-hit chance, right, which direction am I going to go? Am I going to come back this way and go this way? Or am I going to start up here and grab Heart Gore and also grab Defiance? Because if I go this direction, if I go back this direction, I'm going to probably grab this multi-hit resist. I'm going to grab this revitalization. I'm going to grab this quick slice, and then I'm going to grab the multi-hit chance, but I'm not going to go back up. So you got to figure out, okay, am I starting from up here and going this direction and grabbing these skills, or am I going this direction? So that's where the board is going to come into play. This is your end game build, essentially, is this board. And you're going to have to figure out which stats you want to prio and which direction you want to go, so that you can get those skills to a higher level using your board. I hope that helps you out. Now, the final thing we're going to talk about is how to get these skills to +16 using your items or your armors or weapons. Now, a weapon or an item accessory can roll with a +1 on a specific active or a specific passive. Now, the chances to do that are very low. I'm going to show you here what I mean by that. So if you're trying to get a specific stat, let's say this ring here, I wanted to get a different stat. I didn't want Whirlwind Slice. I wanted something else. But you first got to figure out, can you even get that stat on the ring, right? So to do that, what you do is you click on the ring or whatever item that you're looking at to see if you can even roll it, right? Then you're going to go to soul binding. Once you're at soul binding, you're going to click on reset, but you're not going to reset anything. You're going to click on this little percentage sign right here, and it's going to tell you right here on the left side every stat and the percentage that you can roll that stat on that particular item. So you can see here, int only has a 3.2% chance. What does that tell me? That out of all the things that can roll, int is best in slot for this ring because it has the lowest chance to roll. So int can be used on all classes. It's not just mages like typical MMOs. Int, I think, gives you like a flat base damage increase. So int would be best in slot. Then right after that would be flight power, and then attack, and then critical, and so on and so forth. But you can see here, you get even a smaller chance to roll a +1 on a skill. So I have even a 1.67 chance to roll quick slice. I have a 1.67 chance to roll shadow strike. And it just keeps going on. You can see whirlwind slice had a 1.67 chance, but I hit it here. And infiltrate had a 1.67 chance, and I hit it here. So this roll on this ring is pretty much god tier because I rolled int, which is a 3.2 chance, and then I got, you know, a crappy roll here with the natural MP regen, which actually isn't that bad because you do need some MP regen. But then I got two god rolls with the whirlwind and the infiltrate. So this ring right here was like a crazy roll that I got. So now your question is, well, how do I re-roll the stats on items if I'm chasing +1 skills? How do I actually re-roll the item? So it's very simple. You go to enhance the item, you go to soul binding. I would have to click the item, and what you would do is you would hit reset. You need these reset books to do it, and the only way you can get them is by questing, and you can do them by achievements. Okay, you can do them by achievements. You can get them by achievements. You can buy them on the trade shop, and you can get them from doing the monolith. And obviously, if you subscribe, you can get them from the battle pass. So if you want to re-roll all of it, then you would do reset. If you're just trying to re-roll one stat, then you would do sync. And I can't show you what this is yet, but I'll make another video on this. Sync essentially is you get to pick one of the stats and you can re-roll it essentially using another gold material. So if you're looking just to re-roll one stat because you like all your stats, like this one, attack and critical damage boost is god tier. Critical damage boost is, look, 2.4. It's top tier. It's the best single stat for this item, and I rolled it here. And I got impact hit. So this item here is super god tier. I've got the attack, I've got the critical damage boost, and I've got the impact hit here. So this was another god roll. Okay, but let's just say I had gotten like a crappy roll here and a crappy roll here and a good roll here. I could have just re-rolled this one and re-rolled this one, or I could have just reset all three and just hope that I would have hit a better roll. So this is the end game right here, is going into your stats, going into your items, trying to figure out what item rolls with what type of roll and what am I actually chasing. You can see here on the cloak, critical damage tolerance is your top roll, but I can also roll these skills, and this is how you're going to push your skills to +16, is by going into your items here and rolling them so that they have a +1. Like this one here is +1 determination, +1 defense break, +1 rear smite, +1 impact hit. If all your stuff has those instead of the raw stats, then a lot of your skills are going to be +16. So you're going to have to choose, do I want my skills to be +16 or do I want raw stats from my gear, like critical damage boost or things like that, like those top tier individual skills. You know, you're gonna have to make that choice, right? You can't have both. You can't have, well, I mean, I guess you could land both on a god roll, right? I could hit like the combat speed on the boots, on the hands, but then get 2 separate +1s on skills. Like that would be god roll, because then I'm getting the combat speed, which is top tier, but then I'm also getting the +1s on the skills. So like if that happened, that's pretty top tier. Even if you rolled a not so good one, like a random like defense one, or you know, something like that, where it wasn't the best, but you got 2 +1s that are the skills that you're chasing, I would not change it, because the +1s making these skills +16 is going to have a lot more benefactor for you. So I wanted to cover that with you guys, because I'm sure people are asking, well, like, how do I actually get to 16? Well, it's a mixture of things. It's your Divinian board, right? Getting the +1s on your board. And it's also your gear, your actual gear, what your gear is rolling with, what your gear stats are. That's how you're going to get to +16. And once your stuff's +16, it's a big difference from what I've seen and from what I've been told. So hopefully this video was clear and you guys took something from it, and now you kind of understand a little bit in depth about the skills and how to get them high level and all of that. And hopefully it answers your questions. If you guys liked the video, smash the like button for me. Helps me out big time. I did a lot of Throne and Liberty content back in the day, but now I'm going to be shifting over to AION. And if you guys have any questions or comments, throw them in the comment section. I do answer those myself as soon as possible. And if you guys want to see more guide videos or PvP videos and more in-depth guides, there's a ton of content in this game. I'm going to be releasing a lot of it for you guys. All you got to do is hit that sub button. Helps me out big time. Hope you guys liked the video. I'll be making some new videos here shortly, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.